Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to try doing something a little bit different. Today I am messing around with some of my oracle cards and I wanted to do a pick a card reading. Now this is a Heart of the Fairy oracle. This is an oracle deck that is a lot more introspective. It has to do with working on yourself, changing problems within yourself, healing yourself, shadow work, and overcoming things within yourself that hold you back from living a really fulfilling life. So I have 4 stacks of cards and each one of them is actually 2 cards. And so I'm using the combination of the 2 different cards to form one cohesive message. So this is be stack 1, stack 2, stack 3, and stack 4. So I will give you a few moments to pick a stack, and then afterwards I will go down the line one by one and I will tell you about each card and tell you what the message the cards have for you for today. And I will also put timestamps for each stack depending on which one you chose. I will put them all in the description below or in the pinned comment, so you can just click on it and get to the stack that you chose. So I'll give you a few more moments to choose a stack. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into the video. So if you chose stack number 1, we have the Joy of the Future and the Queen of Passage. Now, these cards go together really well. The Joy of the Future is a card that is about having fears about what's to come in the future. It's about wasting your energy fearing things that might happen in the future. You know, you need to be brave and anticipate a joyful future, or even just focus on the present, because focusing too much and worrying about a future that may or may not happen isn't going to help you. You know, you can't spend your whole life fearing the future. You know, you've got to let go of that and try to hold on to a sense of optimism. The Queen of Passage is a card that is all about transition. It's about moving forward and making changes. The Queen of Passage is about transition, trust, moving into a new phase, letting go and moving on, which can be difficult for a lot of people. It's about looking ahead and putting growth, towards the future. It's about making changes and surrendering to the way ahead. And when we see them together, it's a card it's a message to you that's saying that it's time for you to move forward. And if you are a person who's naturally worrisome or who worries about what the future might hold for you, it's saying you need to surrender that. You need to surrender your fear and allow yourself to feel optimistic about the future, because it is time for you to make a transition. It is time for you to make a change, to let something go and move on from something. But you're not going to be able to move on if you're going forward filled with fear. You need to cultivate a sense of optimism for yourself, even if it's a small one, because the first step in doing so is probably going to be just focusing on the present. If you can't focus on the past, and if you are too afraid to focus on the future, just focus on the present. You can do anything you want to, and you really can move forward into positivity, away from negativity and away from fear. But it's all about taking your time and about focusing on, again, a sense of optimism, because I think doing so will aid you in moving forward. And I think that you'll be able to make a lot of changes as you transition from one place of your life to a new place in life. So that's basically the message for stack number 1. It's all about moving forward, allowing yourself to feel optimistic and letting go of fear of the future. It's time for a new era of your life, and you are ready to make that transition, but you're going to have to let go of fear in order to do that. All right. Stack number 2. We have the Heartless Love and the Prince of Shadows. Now, the Heartless Love is a card that's all about getting into relationships that aren't helpful to anyone. It's about loving someone and moving away from them really quickly. It's about leading someone on and then turning your back on them. It's a card of abandonment. It's a card of being heartless when it comes to romance and when it comes to romantic situations. It's about not caring about other people, and it's about the other party sometimes feeling abandoned because they were led on with false expectations. When we see the heartless love, we see that compassion is something that is needed here. Now, so that's the message of the heartless love, basically. It's just a card of, being non-caring of other people's emotions in relationships, basically. Now, the Prince of Shadows is a whole different issue altogether. The Prince of Shadows is a card of addictions. It's a card of, of getting into things that are no good for you, getting into things that don't serve you. It's a card of it's like when you have irresistible urges to do something that may harm you, that may put you in danger. It's a card of excessive indulgence, about giving into negative temptations. And it could also have to do with being in a relationship with someone who's really negative, like being in a toxic relationship. So when we see the heartless love paired with the Prince of Shadows, it leans more towards a toxic relationship that needs to end. So in this scenario, either you are the person who is being toxic in this relationship and not necessarily toying with someone's feelings, but you're giving someone the wrong idea and the wrong impression of this relationship and about where it could lead to and where it could go. And if it's the other way around, you are dating someone who makes you feel bad. You're dating someone who may not love you the way you love them, who doesn't feel as strongly about you, who is really toxic, really negative, and potentially very abusive towards you. So either way, the relationship can go on like that. Either someone needs to change their ways or somebody needs to leave the relationship. It's really not good. And so if you are in an abusive relationship, or you are the abusive person in the relationship, or if you're just aware that you may be doing things to the other person that are, a little insensitive or inconsiderate of the other person's emotions, it's asking you to take a step back and really look at how you're behaving, because it's saying that it's harmful to at least one party in this relationship. The last potential message for these two cards is a relationship with yourself. You could be doing things to yourself that are hurting yourself. You could have a very bad and uncaring relationship with your own body, with your own mind, and you're indulging in things that are really negative and really toxic for you, and it's affecting you really negatively. So you might need to curb some of your behavior, take a step back, regroup, and maybe try to spend time doing things that will benefit you and less time doing things that are harming you ultimately in the end. So that's basically the message I'm getting for stack number 2. Stack number 3. We have the Fairy of Youth and the Hero. I'll start with the Hero. The Hero is a card about love. Love as a force of nature. Love as a way to overcome negativity and obstacles. Love as like a power as opposed to a weakness. It's about love as a heroic force. It's about having the strength and the courage that it takes to have unconditional love in life. This is about a love that can really overcome obstacles because it's just that strong. The Fairy of Youth is a different kind of energy. It's a card of enthusiasm, of like childlike sense of wonder. It's a card of positivity and positive expectations. It's about approaching things in life and situations in life with a child's idea of limitless potential, of limitless ability. It's about having a really youthful perspective. So I think the message between these two cards is saying that, there are situations in life that may be getting you down, things that are hard for you to overcome, issues that are hard for you to deal with in your life. It could be things that have happened to you in your past or situations that you're currently going through. These cards are saying that the answer to your problems is basically love. And not love in the traditional sense like romantic love, but it's just more like entering the world and standing in the world in a place of lovingness. It's love towards yourself, towards others. It's about being more compassionate, more forgiving of yourself and of others. Having that sense of inner peace and of love. It's about going into the world with a childlike sense of exuberance, of enthusiasm. Whatever situation you're dealing with, you can overcome it. You can certainly deal with it. But do you want to pour hate or fear the situation? Or do you want to pour love towards it and love towards yourself as you go about dealing with the situation from a more innocent perspective, the perspective of a child? A child doesn't think, oh, I don't know if I can overcome the situation. A child doesn't have a good concept of limitations. To a child, anything is able to be overcome, and that's something you need to tap into. Stand in a place of power, stand in a place of love, and really tap into that childlike sense of limitless possibilities. Because whatever it is that you're dealing with right now in life, you can certainly overcome it and you can prosper from it. But you're going to need to change your perspective and your approach. And ultimately, that will be the biggest benefit to you as it stands right now. So that's basically my message for stack number 3. Just tap into a childlike sense of wonder. Come at an obstacle or an opportunity, with a fresh perspective of how a child might look at it. Take all the fear out of the scenario, out of the equation, and just move forward from there, because I think you can make some very special things happen in your life. So that's my message for stack number 3. The last stack is stack number 4. We have the Lady of Sorrows and the Lady of Faith. Now, this is a kind of a heavier pairing. The Lady of Sorrows is a card of, somebody who has had a lot of wrong done to them in their life. This is someone who is basically collecting all of the negative things that have been done to them, collecting all the wrongs that have been done against them, and building up a wall between themselves and other people, building up a wall of defensiveness within themselves because they've been hurt too many times. They've been on the receiving end of too much negative situations, too many hurtful people, and they've basically built a wall around their heart. They're unable to forgive others, and in order to overcome this wall and really start to really enjoy life on a more profound level, you're going to have to learn how to forgive other people. Forgiveness isn't for other people, it's for yourself. You're giving yourself permission to let it go, basically. You're not saying you want to deal with those people anymore, that you want to be around them, or that you encourage, that behavior, but you are saying you forgive them for what they did, and that way you're able to heal on your own. Because going through life with walls built up like that is not helping anyone at all. And you're cutting yourself off from people who could potentially, be able to enhance your life and bring more enjoyment, and more positive relationships. The Lady of Faith is a card about believing in yourself. It's a card of, having a really firm belief in your self-worth. It's about wearing armor for going through life. It's about having armor. She has armor. She's protected. She is sure in herself. This person is sure in themselves. They have their armor on. They're ready to face the world, but they don't have armor over their heart. Their heart is uncovered, because even though they're strong and they're ready to deal with criticism or judgment, they still have an opening in their armor so that they can love. So I think these cards are saying you need to move from the Lady of Sorrows to the Lady of Faith. You need to move from someone who has trouble forgiving, someone who's been hurt too many times and has built walls, into somebody who is still strong and who has armor because they've dealt with a lot of pain, but they're still able to love other people. They're still able to forgive. They're still able to have faith and to find joy in, it's a really important thing to be able to make that shift, because that's the only way you're going to find balance in your life and in your relationships, and ultimately within yourself. Because, emotional pains and emotional trauma, it reaches us on a really deep level, and it affects all areas of our life, whether we realize it or not. So when we do things like forgive others or let down our walls, through conscious efforts, we really are healing on a level that I think most people probably don't even realize how deep it is. The Lady of Faith is about standing strong, standing firm in your beliefs about yourself. You know who you are. It's about trusting in your judgment, valuing yourself, and I think that, she's a very strong character. She's a very strong card. Like, it's understandable why you would have armor, have these walls built, but when you have walls built around you, you can't go anywhere. You're trapped. When you have armor around yourself, you're still protected, but you're free to move about as you please. You're not stuck in a stagnant place. And really, nobody needs to be stuck in a stagnant place anyway. So I think the message from these cards is to maybe learn how to forgive, let down some of those walls. You don't have to be fully weak and fully vulnerable, but you still have the ability to do so should you decide to. So that's my message for stack number 4. I hope you enjoyed those messages. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is something different. This isn't something I've done before. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.